We're now going to take a look under the Scopes tab. This is the place you'll find all your curriculum. It has all of the lessons, the assignable components, the assessments, the activities, the songs, the games, the vocabulary, everything that you need curriculum-wise to teach with. It would be a great idea and a good suggestion to use the Online Science Scope Components note sheet that goes along with this to follow along and make notes that you'll find helpful to use later. So let's jump right in. I'm going to click on the Scopes tab. And once you click on the Scopes tab, you'll be given a list of grade levels that you want to choose. So you're going to want to identify whatever grade level that you're wanting to look at. And for our sake today, I'm just going to pick 5th. That's sort of in the middle of K-Physics there, so we'll pick that grade level. And all of the different scopes for this grade level for 5th grade are going to pop up. And you can see if I scroll down, there's going to be over 20 of them. These are aligned to your TEKS. So these are all, you'll see the TEKS number in front of the title. And these are going to correspond with whatever TEKS that you're working on at the time. You can either scroll through this list and find what you want, or you can select by topic or reporting category. So for our sake today, I'm going to select matter and energy. And when I do that, you'll notice that my list narrows quite a bit. Now it's only going to generate the 3 scopes, okay, the 3 standards here, the TEKS. Now C and D are combined, some of them are like that, but it's only going to represent those TEKS that fall under this matter and energy category for 5th grade. Okay, from here I'll select which unit I want to look at. So again, I'm just going to pick classifying matter for our sake today. And when I do that, you're going to notice that each one of these scopes is set forth in the 5E model of instruction. The engage, the explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. But STEMScopes takes it a step further. We're very, very aware that teachers need what I call pregame. This is the essentials. This is your getting ready for teaching tab. But we also need some intervention and some acceleration. So what do we do with the kids that still don't get it? I can look at intervention pieces. And what do we do with those that are ready to take it further? Those are some acceleration ideas there. As soon as you click on the scope, and I see my title here, 5.5A Classifying Matter, I'll always have student expectations and key concepts and fundamental questions that generate on this page that's just sort of a general page for me. These are fantastic things to put on your website if you kind of keep correspondence back and forth between school and home, to give the kids and the parents just an idea of what they're going to be doing. Under the Essentials tab, you'll notice several things. The first thing I want to point out is the teacher background page. If I click on teacher background, this is going to give me a very, very good synopsis, a great understanding of what I need to know in order to be a successful teacher on this particular standard. Within the teacher background, there's always pictures and illustrations. If I click on these pictures, they're going to enlarge for me. So a lot of teachers find it helpful to use these pictures as part of their classroom instruction. If I keep scrolling down, I'll notice more illustrations, notes that I'm going to find helpful, just really everything that I'm going to need in order to know exactly what to teach here. So you'll definitely want to check that out. The second thing under Essentials is a materials list. These are modifiable lists for you to input how many students you have, your class sizes, how many groups you plan to use, and how many sections, how many classes you have. And once you do that, it's going to give you a grocery list, a shopping list of everything you need for all of the hands-on activities in this particular scope. So we can see there's an engage activity. Here's everything I would need for the engage activity. There's an explore activity. Here's what I need for that. And evaluate under a concept builder, another hands-on activity here. And then there's something under intervention that I would need supplies for, as well as acceleration. So this is sort of that shopping list for you. It's going to give you everything you need and how many based on your class size. Answer keys are under Essentials. I'm not going to click on that, so you know what that is, though. Not that you need the answers, but sometimes it's nice to have those at your fingertip. Under Essentials, there's also a pre-assessment. Again, remember when we talked about the planner, we looked at the T for teacher and the blue S for student. So these color codings are going to follow suit and follow through on that theme and that pattern. This pre-assessment, if I click it, notice the assign button is right there waiting for me. I can assign this to students. I can change it from English to Spanish here, and I can just take a look at it as well. Now let's say there's some wording or something in the question that you want to change. You can always click on this editable version, and that's going to allow you to make changes to this assessment based on the needs of your class and your students. Standards correlation. This is a document that's going to connect what standards are being used in this scope with different other content areas. The math standards, the ELA standards, ELPs that are being used. It's just going to tie it all together. The scope summary gives you just a Cliff Note version of what's going on in these 5 E's. Kind of what am I doing in the Engage, what am I doing in the Explore, and so forth. And then finally, Standards Unwrapped. This is one of my favorite documents. This takes your TEKS, so 5.5a is what we're looking at right now, and it pulls it apart. It's going to tell you exactly what are the verbs, what should the students be doing, what nouns am I working with. This is great if you do word walls or any kind of vocabulary enrichment. And my favorite, student misconceptions, implications for instructions. Now remember, STEMScopes is written by teachers, by masters of the classroom, so they know exactly what kids are going to come maybe with misconceptions and some things that they might think that we might want to correct. So these are great tips. Another thing in this Standards Unwrapped that is really valuable, if there have been STAR questions and they're released, the STAR questions are going to be listed down here below as well. So here's a couple from the 2013 release test. If I keep scrolling, here's from the 2011 test, 2014 right here. These are just a list of how they've tested this standard before, and this is constantly updated. So anytime we get new questions released or information is put out, that's going to be updated. And this is valuable to just give you a picture of how is this tested? How are we going to really look at this? Okay, so that kind of covers the Essentials tab. Under Engage, there is an Engage activity. So here's the Engage teacher instructions. I can look through and figure out exactly what I'm going to do, what I'm going to need to do it, what procedure, what's my preparation. There's also this STEM Coach in Action tab, and we'll look more at STEM Coach later, but if I were to click on this, it's going to take me to the STEM Coach site, and this is a free professional development for teachers. It's a great resource. It's going to give you a lot of information on just some of the teaching pieces, like what is cooperative learning, what are some helpful hints in incorporating student notebooks and so forth. So that's definitely something you're going to want to explore, and these are embedded throughout the entire program. Procedure and facilitation for my Engage activity, and then at the very end of all of these, you're going to see a blue box. And these are ELPS strategies. These are going to give you some tips and some hints on things you can do with your ELL learners that are going to help you out a little bit. If there were student sheets that went along with this Engage activity, they would be here as well. This activity doesn't have any papers that go with it though, so there's nothing there for you to see. Starters, these are just more ideas. If you don't feel that the Engage activity is going to meet the needs of your students, you can always select from this starters list right here as just some different ideas. These are also great for ideas to post or to send home to mom and dad as some things that kids can do at home to supplement. Moving to Explore. Explore Teacher Guide. This is going to look same format as your Engage activity. Again, the description, the materials, procedures, preparation, all that's going to be there, as well as your ELP strategies. Now this does have a student sheet. So here's kind of the answer key for you. I can find this student sheet though under this Explore Student Materials. Notice the student tab there, so you can assign it to kids that way. In every Explore activity, you're going to find a setup video. These are fantastic for giving you a really, really good picture and an example of how to set up your lab and what it's going to look like. So this is kind of a tabletop to neck view of someone performing the lab. They're quick. They're usually about 5 minutes long. So it's really helpful to watch this before you set up a lab so that you know exactly what it's supposed to look like and exactly what you're going to be doing with the students. Now, after I've engaged them and after I've done some exploring with my Explore lab, I can move on to my Explain tab. And this is chock full of great things for you to really tie the hands-on to that understanding of the concept. Question prompts are here. Now, when you look at these, you're going to notice something really special and unique about them. They're questions that tie to the labs, but they're leveled. They're differentiated for you based on blooms. So we're going to start here at the recall level, and here's a couple questions that go along with that. Moving up to your understand, up even further, evaluate, all the way to the create level. So you can really differentiate based on the students in your classroom which questions you're going to ask to them. Also in Explain, there's picture vocabulary. These are fantastic. They give you a term, and this is all based on Marzano's research and his study of vocabulary, but these cards have terms, an illustration, and then a definition that goes with it. And this is an assignable item. So these are great to assign to the students perhaps at the beginning of the unit so that they always have it at their fingertips to look things up. Science Rock, you definitely want to check this out. This is a kind of like a little music video. The terms, the words for the songs, the lyrics are content driven. So this particular Science Rock, if I were to play it, it's going to be about properties of matter. And then you can also download the words if you want. I'll tell you, this is a hit among the kids. They love the Science Rock, and it's just another way for them to learn. Again, it's in English and Spanish for our elementary folks. So if this toggles here, that means that the Spanish is available. So you can try that out if you need it. STEMScopedia, this is a must. This is a new feature of 2.0, and this is our answer to a textbook. Okay, so this is academic reading for the kids. Again, it's different because it's very standards based. So everything in this particular STEMScopedia sheet is only going to be based on 5.5a. They're not going to get a lot of extraneous information that they don't really need to know. It's very, very focused. So this is fantastic. The reason that it is in this format instead of in a hard textbook is so that we can change it. So when the world around us changes or we learn new things about technology, we can change this immediately. So if Pluto ever gets voted back into the club, he'll be put back in immediately. We won't have to wait until the next adoption to see that happen. Content connections. This is another great resource for teachers. These are videos that are students and teachers working to solve different problems. So this is going to be based on properties of matter since this is the scope we're in. The thing I love about these videos is that it poses questions for the kids to think about, and it gives the teachers a pause, a natural break in the video to pause it and talk to the kids and let them come up with some answers. For example, properties of matter. They may have, two balls that they put into water and one sinks and one floats. And the kids might, say, gosh, I wonder why that happened. And then you're going to hear in the video, teachers, pause the video and talk to your students about why one ball might float and one might sink, for example. So it creates those natural opportunities for kids to talk about what they think and what their understanding is. These are definitely something you're going to want to try out. Progress monitor assessment. Here's another quiz, and I call these pulse checks. We're just going to kind of check the pulse of the student throughout the scope and make sure that they're on board and right along with us and doing progressing as we want them to. Web SciRave, you're going to want to check this out. This is a fun kinesthetic way to learn. It works along with the Science Rock song, and it allows the kids to get up and move. Okay, it's kind of like the dance mat with the arrows. It's going to let them move left to right and front to back to get up and get the blood flowing, but reinforce that science content as well. And then finally, a scope vocabulary game. This is that learning without knowing that we're learning. Let them play and let them explore via game and